That war was fought for black people to have freedoms in this country. Yeah. Actually, that's why the Civil War was fought.
Okay.
And the sad part about it...
that wasn't fought for black people to have guns, I think.
Actually, you know, funny fact is, black people did not get to enjoy the other freedoms until their Second Amendment rights were secured. And I think that that's one of the lessons that we learned.
Black people still aren't allowed to enjoy the freedoms.
I disagree with you on that, Don. I disagree with you. And I think you're doing a disservice to our country by failing to recognize the fact that we have equality before the law.
When you are in black skin and you live in this country, then you can disagree with me. But we're not. You mentioned in here that we have three different shades of melanin.
Don, I think we have to be able to talk about these issues in the open, regardless of the color of our skin. Black Americans today, to say that, compare that to 1865 and 1964,
I think for you to compare it to 1865 and 1964
is actually,
I think it's insulting to black people. It's insulting to me as an African American. I don't want to sit here and argue with you because it's infuriating for you to put those things together. It's not right. Your telling of history is wrong.
What part of the history was wrong?
What part of the history was wrong? That the Civil War was fought. You're making people think that the Civil War was fought for black people, only for black people to get guns and for black people to have...
The Civil War was fought for black people in this country to get freedoms, a noble mission. And I think that even after we succeeded, we had to actually secure those freedoms.
To reduce it in a speech at the NRA to say you're making people think, or you're trying to say that black people to get guns, that was the reason that you're there at the NRA. That was the reason for the Civil War.
It is a fact.
That's reductive.
It's not reductive,
I think it's insulting. There are a whole plethora of reasons that for the Civil War.
With due respect, I find your explanation reductive and actually insulting, including to black Americans, to say that black people today, compared to 1964, 1865, haven't made progress in part because of the freedoms we secured. And the Second Amendment was part of what secured
hang on,
that
please.
freedom.
I cannot keep a thought if you guys are talking to me in my ear. So hang on one second. So to say that black people, say what you said again.
Black people secured their freedoms after the Civil War. It is a historical fact, Don. Just study it. Only after their Second Amendment rights were secured.
They were not secured their freedoms after the Civil War. That is not. You are discounting Reconstruction. You're discounting a whole host of things that happened after the Civil War when it comes to African Americans, including the whole reason that the Civil Rights Movement happened is because black people did not secure their freedoms after the Civil War, and that things turned around. People tried to change the freedoms that were supposed to happen.
And you know how they got it? They got their Second Amendment rights, and they actually got the NRA played a big role in that. But today, Don, the
NRA did not play a big role in that.
They trained black Americans how to use firearms.
That's a lie. That's not. The NRA did not play a big role in that.
This is just historical fact.
It's not historical fact.
The part that I find...
Just because you say it's historical fact.
The part that I find insulting is when you say today black Americans don't have those rights after we have gone through civil rights revolution in this country.
You are sitting here telling an African American about the rights and what you find insulting about the way I live, the skin I live in every day.
Here's where you and I have a different
freedoms
point
that
of view.
black and white that black people don't have in this country, and that black people do have.
Well, here's where you and I have a different point of view. I think we should be able to express our views regardless of the color of our skin. We should have this debate
I'm not saying you
without me regarding you as a black man,
insulting that
but
you're
me regarding you
here,
as a fellow citizen.
That you're
That's what I
sitting
think
here,
we should
whatever ethnicity you are, explaining to me
whatever ethnicity
about what it's like to be black.
Whatever
in America.
ethnicity I am, I'll tell you what I am. I'm an Indian American. I'm proud of it. But I think we should have this debate. Black, white doesn't matter.
I think we should have this
on
debate.
The content of the ideas.
If you're going to do it, you should do it in an honest way and in a fair way. And what you're doing is not an honest and fair way.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Benny. Don Lemon is my favorite on cable TV. I don't know how else to say that because CNN will be so less entertaining when he is fired. Don Lemon is going to be fired. There's all this drama out there about Don Lemon, how horrible of a human being he is. I know he's a horrible human being. I've seen Don Lemon up close at the DNC convention in 2016. The man is a monster. I mean, I've seen the way that he treats people. When you're at these big conventions, you can see media personalities and their interactions very closely. Oh my God, like Don Lemon is a monster. He's a bad person, okay? He's a bad person. But he's using such a dishonest argument there with Vivek Ramaswamy, who I think is just, one, deserves a lot of credit for going on there and taking sort of that muling, obnoxious tone from Don Lemon and handling it with grace and with some actual like facts. But Don Lemon is using this really repulsive argument that is like lifted straight out of like segregationist America on the wrong side of things, meaning you can't understand me. You're not able to understand me because your skin color is wrong, which is in and of itself a racist statement. Because if you believe as I believe, and as everyone believes, that we are all men created equal, that there are going to be inequalities, sometimes by law, those are wrong, and the best you can do is fight against those. And then when you have a fair society where there are literally no racist laws left, Don Lemon can still find something to be upset about. Well, because why? Because you don't have the exact same skin complexion as him? You know what's interesting is that Don Lemon doesn't have the same skin complexion as a lot of people who are black or Indian. I mean, it would be so disingenuous for anyone to say that Don Lemon's skin color determines like who he is or what he is. But what we find particularly interesting about, Don Lemon himself is that this is going to be a really bad argument. This is the guy that Don Lemon is marrying. This is according to CNN.com. Oh my, are they in Florida? Oh, definitely. They're in Florida. Look at those palm trees. They're in West Palm Beach. That's exactly where they are. Why are you hanging out in Florida, Don? Anyway, is this how arguments go inside of the Lemon household here? Do you just argue based on skin color? This is why I say it's segregationist and or racist tautology in thinking. To use as a shield the fact that someone's skin color isn't the same as yours, so their argument doesn't matter. So they need to be silenced. It's totally perverse and sick. Warped ideology. Good for Vivek. He's been on my show. He's great. I love the way he thinks. I love his energy. Not sure what chance he has as he runs for president, but he's been making waves, dude. Love that guy. The person who hasn't been consistent, unlike Vivek Ramaswamy, who's been very, very good on all this stuff, has been Don Lemon. Because you can go back into the CNN archives and find Don Lemon being real racist against black people based on modern wokeism. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Don Lemon versus black people archive. That is really something else. Watch.
Because black people, if you really want to fix the problem, here's just 5 things that you should think about doing. Here's number 5. And if this doesn't apply to you, if you're not doing this, then it doesn't apply to you. I'm not talking about you. Here's number 5. Pull up your pants. Walking around with your ass and your underwear showing is not okay. In fact, it comes from prison when they take away belts from the prisoner so that they can't make a weapon. And then it evolved into which role a prisoner would have during male-on-male prison sex. The one with the really low pants is a submissive one. You get my point? Number 4 now is the N-word. By promoting the use of that word when it's not germane to the conversation, have you ever considered that you may just be perpetuating the stereotype the masser intended, acting like a Now number 3, respect where you live. Start small by not dropping trash, littering in your own communities. I've lived in several predominantly white neighborhoods in my life. I rarely, if ever, witness people littering. I live in Harlem now. It's an historically black neighborhood. Every single day I see adults and children dropping their trash on the ground when a garbage can is just feet away. Just being honest here. Number 2, finish school. You want to break the cycle of poverty? Stop telling kids they're acting white because they go to school or they speak proper English. A high school dropout makes on average $19,000 a year. A high school graduate makes $28,000 a year. A college graduate makes $51,000 a year. Over the course of a career, a college grad will make nearly $1 million more than a high school graduate. That's a lot of money. And number 1, and probably the most important, just because you can have a baby, it doesn't mean you should, especially without planning for one or getting married first. More than 72% of children in the African American community are born out of wedlock. That means absent fathers. And the studies show that lack of a male role model is an express train right to prison. And the cycle continues.
Thank you for watching. Our channel's here to meme the libs until they cry and then to meme them crying. Their tears, they taste just like sweet, delicious ice cream. Salty, too. We ridicule the establishment and the libs because of you. Your support keeps us going. So if you like what you saw, please punch the subscribe button, click like, and ring the little bell so that you know when we're live. Don't you want to know when we're live? And make sure that you subscribe to our email list just in case the plug gets pulled, as tends to happen. If you want to see more of our videos, click here or here My name is Benny Johnson. Stay free, Base Patriots.